Good morning. I hope you're well. Hope you're already focused on Jesus. We're in the Sermon on the Mount. We're listening to Jesus as he talks to us about how that God creates in us a center of love and a circumference of love, and how that this process begins in the Beatitudes, moves to us being salt and light. He recovers our dreams and purifies them and makes them real. And then he begins to establish a new kind of morality where we have reverence and respect for all kinds of people, no matter where they're at, as they surround us each day. Let's listen to these next words. They're tough. Prepare yourself. It says, if your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you, for it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you, for it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. What in the world is he talking about? Should a Christian show up at work one day with one of his eyes missing or one of the hand missing? What is he talking about? It's a symbol of how we evaluate people and how we interact with people. The eye is the evaluation. The hand can also evaluate by touch, but primarily the eye is the way we evaluate another person, and it will determine how we will interact with them or how we will value them or we will not value them. The hand is a mechanism of control and of work, and it's how we will organize and control. The hand can be used to bless. The hand can be used to hurt, to discipline, to inflict damage. The eye is the window through which we evaluate people's worth. Now, Jesus says this, sometimes the way that we look at people can cause us to sin. What does that mean? What does it mean to sin? Sin means the flow of love stopped. Sin is not just breaking a rule. It means every rule that God has in the Bible, every law, it's telling us this is how and when and where love will stop. If you do this, love will flow. If you do this, love will stop. Now, when I'm looking at a person, I'm supposed to look at them and love them. That's why I exist. But sometimes the way I look at a person doesn't encourage love, it actually stops love. For example, if you were raised in a racist society and you grew up in an environment where every day people were telling you it was okay to look at people with a different skin color as being less than you and not deserving as much as you, then you have that kind of embedded in your memory and in your behavior. And if you're not careful, your culture will dictate whether you love someone or not, or your pain. Maybe you suffered at the hands of a certain kind of racial group, and you carry pain because they've hurt you or your people. It can be people of the same skin color, it can be people of different skin color, but there's a history that causes you to sin. In other words, there's a history that says, I'm not gonna love that person. I'm not gonna touch them to bless them. I'd like to get my hands around their throat, but I'm certainly not gonna help them if they're sick. So Jesus says to us that as we move through our lives and we perceive these historic barriers or this pain that is still moving in me to keep me from touching certain kind of people or loving certain kind of people, he says, once you identify this kind of problem with your eye or your hand, he said, there's no cure for it. We can't rewrite history. You can't cure this. You have to pluck the eye out and you have to cut the hand off. What does that mean? It means this. You need to understand that you can't fix this. It's beyond your power to fix all this stuff. So you need to let him be your eyes. In other words, you pull your eye out. That doesn't mean you're blind. It means now that you can only see if you look with his eyes. If you cut your hand off, it doesn't mean you can't touch. It just means now you can't touch with your hand or your history. You're going to touch with his hand and his history. To be a Christian means I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. It's not just imitating Jesus, it's living Jesus. In other words, once you identify where your history your eye or your hand makes your love stop, then you need to tear out your history, your way of seeing. You need to cut off your way of touching. And you need to say, Jesus, what do you see? Jesus, who do you see? Jesus, how do you want to touch them? Some people can't look, a Republican can't look at a Democrat. A Democrat can't look at a Republican. A Hillary supporter can't stand a Trump supporter. A Trump supporter can't stand a Hillary supporter. Okay, fine, I get it. That's human history. That's really, really relevant. It is irrelevant to Jesus. We can have opinions, we can tell the truth, we can feel what we feel, but the way we look at another person and the way that we are going to touch another person, that is not under our control anymore. It should be under his control. If not, the circumference of love will collapse. Sometimes people look in the mirror and they see themselves out of a history of failure. They look in the mirror and they say, I'm junk, I'm a failure, I never get it right. Pull that eye out and now see yourself in the mirror with Jesus' eyes. You're not junk. Don't give up. He's going to tell you to keep moving, keep going. He's with you. He thinks you're beautiful. He loves you. Sometimes your hand has messed up so many things, you don't want to touch anything. And Jesus says, fine, cut yours off, use mine. Say to him, I can't get this right. And he says, that's okay. I will get it right. If you'll just give me everything, we'll get this right. Cut the hand off, pull the eye out. What does that mean? It means don't live out of the history of your humanity. Live out of the history of Jesus's humanity. Live Jesus. For to me, to live is Christ. It's no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. We need to talk about this a little bit more, but let the Holy Spirit teach you, because the Holy Spirit is the only one who can open you to your mistakes and your sin. I can't do that. It's when you're offended by it that you should take action. God bless you. Have a great day.